I'm Alyson Reeves, and I'm running for House of Delegates, District 89. I worked past tense because I'm retired for about 25 years in the, how to describe it? Well, I was a researcher in mathematics and computer science, and our company worked for NSA as a sole contractor. So that sort of made us an FFRDC, but not really. Had a lot of leeway in terms of what I worked on and variety of topics in those areas. But mathematics and research were mathematics and computer science were my main things, and have a long history of education in those things all the way up through and as a postdoc at Brandeis. Um, my family, my dad was a Navy man all the way up through the time that he retired, which was just about the time I graduated from high school. And when he retired, my parents moved out here to Slingsville. And a lot of you may know them because, in particular, my dad was treasurer of the Slingsville Fire Department, and he got them that huge building with the banquet hall and all of that. That was pretty much his brainchild. And when he faded out of life, he was working on the 911 system, which was finally completed by someone else. Not sure, maybe, well, I don't know for sure who that was. Anyway, because they were out here, my partner and I started looking around for land and found a place out in Levels, and we love it. And so I've been coming home to West Virginia since I started college, and I moved out here permanently in 2019. So I've been here, oh, well, that was the beginning of 2019, so I've been here over 5 years. And as far as community involvement, it's been fairly limited. That area is really remote and it makes it hard to get down here. I wanted to get involved in the animal control, well, yeah, but they really were after somebody to do the grunt work, which I'm more into education of animals, so I didn't. I did do read aloud for a semester, and then along came COVID-19, and that was the end of that. So that's it. Well, I am more interested and focused on making sure that West Virginians, the entire state, has have what they need to succeed to the best of their abilities. And that's what I feel the legislature should be doing. I am not into punitive measures unless absolutely necessary. I am not into excluding groups or subdividing groups. I am not into me over everyone else. I think this state needs to work as a huge community to boost itself up, and my particular passion is education. But the other three aspects are economy, environment, and equity, and I think all of the issues come together through those four issues. I would like to see the legislature get back on track to helping West Virginians succeed to the best of their abilities. I am particularly interested in overhauling the education system. Public education, people should be flocking to it. Students should want to come to public education. Public education needs to be learner centered, and we need to completely rethink it in this state, and it needs to be a top priority. I would make sure that the legislature is focused on revamping the budget so that our top priorities are getting the most funding. And I mean, there are other things. Healthcare is a mess here. Besides the education, the judicial system needs an overhaul. Not the judges per se, but the whole structure of what's bad and what's good needs to be rethought. But the main thing is education. speaking out at the legislature is my big plan for making a difference. I am research focused, always have been. And so whenever I see a bill, I'm going to do the research on that bill, make sure I understand all of the aspects, make sure that it's written as narrowly as possible to address the problem that is necessary to address. If it's not addressing the true problem, I'm going to speak out against it. If it can be rewritten so that it's better in whatever way, I'm going to work on doing that as well. I have a legislative litmus test on my website. Website is reeves4wv.com. But the legislative litmus test says that laws ought to be written to benefit all, in this case, West Virginians, either directly or indirectly. They need to be written to address the problem and possibly rewritten to make sure that is the problem that needs to be addressed. And then if they're punitive, they need to be written as narrowly as possible. And we have to make sure that it's absolutely necessary to be punitive, to punish people. And maybe there's a companion bill that will eventually make that punitive measure obsolete. So that's also something to think about. Actions. Education, education. In particular, I think with children, they can get very bored in school, either because school is above them or below them. Either way, and the result of that is they start to look for other avenues of entertainment. That's not good. I think there's the whole family issue. You have people that their parents or whatever, or maybe their uncle or aunt is into the drug scene, and then the children get pulled into it for whatever reason because maybe they're not being supervised. Um, we need to stop making drugs a punitive measure. It's an addiction. It's a disease. It's not something that we can throw people in jail for. It's something we need to cure, and we need to look at it that way. And if you're worried about spending West Virginia tax dollars on other states, I'm sure there's a way to write the laws so that either we're not doing that or we're having other states contribute to our facilities, which wouldn't be such a bad thing. But to say we should just limit the number of West Virginians that can get help, what good does that do? Remember that if we spend money on this process, it's one of those legislative laws that would pass the legislative litmus test. The biggest one is broadband. There's no question about that. Finding a solution needs to be somewhat prioritized, needs to have companies looking outside the box for how to solve the problem. Where I am out on Jersey Mountain, we do have cable, so that's nice. It's a direct line. We do sometimes even have problems with that. We don't have an option for satellite. It just doesn't exist. We looked around and it's not there. We get annoyed with Frontier at times, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. So we need a bit of choice around here. We everybody in this state should have access to good broadband, good reliable broadband. It's got to be there. So it's got to be a priority. Education, education, education. um, my feeling is if West Virginia had a world class public education system, people would be flocking to this state. People would want their kids to get educated in a world-class education system. The kids that are already here would get lifted up by having that system available to them. And once you get the people here, the jobs will follow. I do not believe that bribing corporations to build here is the way to do it, because what are they going to do? They're going to do what they're doing now, which is build on the edge of the state and have people on the other side of the border come over to work there. That doesn't help West Virginians. Now, this state, all of public education needs to service all of the state, and it needs to be completely rethought. Um, there's a group out, reimagine.org. I have a link on my website to their stuff, and it is utterly amazing. It's put together by a whole bunch of educators, and they're starting to roll out programs. And I think we need to start there. We need to look there. We need to look at our educators and ask them to review that site and several others. There are a bunch of TED Talks also on reimagining education. Get their opinions and views, get them to go back to their schools, get it all the input from all the educators, and then start thinking about how to make it work for everybody. And I'm not the person to lead this charge. I don't know a lot about educating except on a one-to-one basis, but I am the person to enable it. Wow, they know I'm a dog lover. They probably don't know I have a PhD in mathematics from Cornell and a master's in computer science and a bachelor's in mathematics from Oberlin. And the big thing is I did get a piano performance degree from Oberlin Conservatory. I just don't play piano so much anymore, although I'd love to. So I am a musician, and around here people don't really know that. I want you to think about what the legislature is doing now, what they're focused on now, and where we are now in this state. Oh, I did bring these statistics, and this is a good place to put this. So, this state is represented in the legislature primarily by white males. And in fact, there are, let's see, Republican white males, I should say, there are 33.2 percent as of 2022 are registered Democrats in the state. It's probably gone down a little bit, but hey. Whereas there are 11% Dems in the House and 9%, less than 9% in the Senate. So the Democrats are not being represented here. Females in the state are 50.1%. Females in the legislature are 11.9%. So the females are not being represented here. We are the last in terms of percentage of women in our legislature amongst states in the nation. And we are also the last in terms of a large number of measures, including healthcare, infrastructure. We're near last in education, depending on who you look at and what you look at. Last in percent of associate's degree holders are college experienced adults, and percent of bachelor's degree holders. Has the highest unemployment rates in the country, is the least educated according to Wallet Hub. We're 47th according to the economy, 47th according to the World Population Review in quality of life, 50th according to eco-friendliness, least diverse, and then a whole bunch of health measures. And I want to ask you, is this coincidence? Or is this, I mean, are these two things actually correlated? And I believe they're correlated because among one of the most successful businesses on the planet is one of the most diverse, and they put diversity, equity, and inclusion, that DEI thing, first and foremost. And that most successful business is Google. Think about it. Google is everywhere. You use the travel app on your phone. You use it it's the best search engine out there. Maybe somebody could make an argument for something else, but I don't think so. It certainly changed my life when Google came online. They're wonderful. They've got so many different things that they can do. If you call the phone number, which I'm not sure it's up on my website yet, it's 304 I believe. It goes through Google Voice to my cell phone. Isn't that wonderful? I don't have to get a separate cell phone. So, all of these wonderful apps and things are coming from a place of diversity. And here we are sitting in with a bunch of Republican white males in our legislature, toddling along at last place or near last place in this nation. And I don't care what Governor Justice says. We're still down there. We're still fighting with Mississippi for last place. Well, it's time for diversity. And I'm part of that.